Hello everyone, Richter here, and we got another Torchlight video in our hands. The season will be starting within I think 3 days from now, and what I wanted to talk about in this video is how the changes affect Iris 1, specifically the build that I played last season, and a few other setups for Iris 1 as well. So there are a few things of note that are important here. Let me just pull up my notes. So if we take a look at this change in specific, we have the change to the Troublemaker. So Troublemaker was a very endgame item. For the most part of the mid game, you will be playing with Fiend Crown. Now Fiend Crown also got changed itself. You now have less minion. You don't have minion cast speed or attack speed anymore in the item, but you still get the lucky crit and the crit multi, which is very strong during the early part of the game. Now what Troublemaker changed is that it's losing the 6% less attack and cast speed per 100 growth is being changed to 3%. So essentially our build was stacking 500 growth, as you can see, 500 base growth on the minion through affixes and stuff, which means that based on this change, we're gaining 50% additional attack and cast speed back. Now, why is that important? First of all, because of course, attack speed in itself is a damage multiplier, but also because Amazing Friends has this line here at Full Bloom, I think. 100% of the cast speed bonus and additional bonus to Spirit Magi also apply to additional Spirit Magi spell damage. So that means that we're not only getting a faster animation, we're also gaining that much as extra damage for the minion. So that in itself is roughly, let's say, a 30% additional damage that we're getting back from this change, assuming that we're playing with Troublemaker. But that will be much later in the game. Now, we of course lost the Belt Enchant. The Belt Enchant, I estimate that is like a 30% damage loss compared to the previous season. The Belt Enchant for Iris that we were using is Socialite. In this case, I had like level 5 Amazing Friends, which in turn gave me Socialite. So the big drawback here is that now we need to invest in level memories to have this level 5. This 14% additional cooldown recovery speed and the reduced stacks was making the minions enter full bloom much faster and allowing you to get the ultimate cooldown to be much lower. However, that is being compensated with this change. So break free from shackles is basically what in English we know as struggle free. So the sealed mana is getting flatted out across all levels. This for me, I don't think made a significant change because I didn't really need this sealed mana, especially with the Troublemaker. Or you could need it, but there are ways to go around it with stuff like, and I actually remove all my passives to do this test, but you can use precise restraints. You can change your passives around to circumvent that problem. So I don't think this is a huge deal. This change, however, I think is for the better. So +1 nourishment stack, as you can see, this only changed to +2 at level 5, which was very expensive to obtain. For the most part, you were enjoying the +1 bonus, which is roughly 15% additional damage, alongside the extra bit of additional cooldown recovery that minions were enjoying. But in turn, what we get is a very nicely scaling cooldown recovery speed bonus that at level 3, which is not very hard to get, we will enjoy an 80% cooldown recovery speed. So at a baseline at level 1, once you get this skill, your minion cooldown will be around 2.42 seconds, which is roughly as much as we had before with the bonuses to cooldown recovery speed on the tree. Now, this is me assuming that some of these bonuses to ultimate cooldown will change. The values will be moved around. They might get removed completely from the tree. We don't know anything about the trees at the moment. So I would like to assume that at least we will count with this 2.42 seconds on the ultimate. at 80. Let me do the calculation. Okay, so based on the formula calculated, we will have around 2.02 seconds cooldown. I think you needed around 200% cooldown reduction to be able to reach a 1 second cooldown ultimate, which with the ultimate cast time and Troublemaker is pretty much all they will cast. They will only cast the ultimate. That will require the investment of the tree being still available. So until we know that, we can only play with these numbers. I think this change is going to overall bring Iris to a much better spot than she was last season. Now there is one very important thing that we need to contemplate, which is the change to skill level scaling. So in the patch notes, if we come here, skill level, I think that was like here in like the last section. In essence, what we're getting is the scaling is being adjusted. There you go, damage scaling. After level 20, skills no longer gain base damage multiplier per level. Instead, each additional level grants 8% additional damage. So there is a little bit of contention on what this change will actually mean in game. Base damage multiplier, the way you might interpret that is either, so if you go to like TLIDB, an actual working subpage of TLIDB, and we look at skills, we look at active skills, especially with spells, right? Let's look at spells like Thundercloud. So they have two components to their scaling through level, starting level 20, right? They have the damage effectiveness and they have the base damage. Now it says base damage multiplier, which to me seems to mean this damage effectiveness not increasing, and instead you're getting 8% additional damage. Now the damage effectiveness increase was roughly 10 to 12% increase depending on the spell per level above 20, and they will be capping, they would cap out at 30 up to level 30, and from then you would instead gain 10% additional damage. So the way this is, it says after level 20, so it means that it has been flattened out. It doesn't change after 30, so you will always only gain the 8% additional damage. Now what does that mean for minions? That means that, for instance, a skill like Frost Magus, which, let me remove it from here. So if we look at, for instance, Frost Release, the base damage right now at level 31 is 223 base damage. If we get rid of that here and we just see it at level 20, we can tell what the base level is 72. So 72 goes to 80 at level 21, and we can check that really quick here by looking at a level 21 Frost Magus. Now this, I think this varies by skill, is not constant. So this was roughly an 8% additional damage gain on the damage multiplier. So assuming this is what they mean, and we can see, for instance, this is 123. Let's look at the level 21. 110. So this is much higher, right? This is how much is 123 to 110? 123 is like a 9%, right? Yeah, it should be like a 9%. Yep, it's roughly 9%. So I think if what is changing is actually damage multiplier, the base damage, if it's only like the base gain of the skill, this has 0 effect on minion skills, because minion skills were already capped at level 20. They didn't gain any more base damage. If it's this part, then I think it will be case by case basis, but I don't think minions will be very much affected by this. It's only that I think minions used to gain 10%. Now we were getting 8%, so that is roughly a nerf across the board of between 30 and 45% damage for absolutely every build in the game. So it's no different for Iris, but I don't think Iris will be hit particularly hard by that change. It will just be across the board. So when compared to the power level of other builds, I think she's coming on top in the patch. Now there might be another few changes. There's another one thing that I want to mention based on other notes that I made here in the patch notes. So brutality, this doesn't really matter for Iris too much unless the damage conversion will make the I think the base physical damage of the minions will still be augmented by this. But this is probably not something that we will go for on Iris. What we would go for instead is this one, Dirty Tricks. So Indifference is getting basically removed from the game. Instead of getting the +1 and the seal mana compensation, what we're getting is for every 5 remaining energy, additional 1% damage, and additional 1% remaining damage, up to 50% additional damage. This requires you to have 250 spare energy, which is quite insane considering you would want to take this early game where you don't have many of the special supports that you will use on skills. So let's take let's say things like Selfless, United Withstand, Safety in Numbers, stuff like that. You don't have any of that early game. So basically you just have this with like Restrained and or Amplification. So that's a lot of energy that you can save by just running like this, right? And you would assume that you would run these skills like this, but the problem is early game, energy cores have been made very scarce, so you will not have 520 energy. You would usually be running around 420 to 550 energy, so that will leave you with like a spare of like 100 energy tops, which will basically means that this node is like 15% additional damage at best, and then in the late game you will completely get rid of this. Now maybe they change energy cores around and we have a way of playing around this, but for the time being I don't think this is a contender at all. What we have as a contender is Dirty Tricks. So the damage multiplicative for ailment, for additional ailment on the enemy is now being applied to the minions. So how can we play around that? That is very easy. Again, subject to change because we don't know if the trees are gonna have still these points, but you have this 16% chance to apply additional ailment. So this is 16, 32 is 48% chance to apply ailments. And then we have on this one, this other tree on Machinist, we have the base ailment. Yeah, there you go, 10 base ailments. So what you will do is you get this on a slate and then you cap out the chance through slates in that other talent tree, and you have 100% chance for minions to apply every single elemental ailment, and that is a 30% multiplier on Dirty Tricks. So what we will go for on the trees will be again, we will go Machines, we'll go Alchemist, we will still go Warlock most likely, because I assume Warlock is going to retain the cooldown recovery properties and have stuff like skill levels. And then there's an additional branch which is I think called Lich, and Lich says that is dedicated to seals and skills, so that will probably, maybe some of the skill level stuff will be moved from Warlock to Lich. And I expect probably that Off the Beaten Track is gonna be moved there, and then we will have Dirty Tricks here on Warlock for enjoyment. So I think I think I covered every everything I had in the notes for Iris 1. Yeah, there's another thing. The Horn Ring is getting an adjustment which will make it a very much more compelling item for the early game. Let me check it in the patch notes page. Horn Ring. Okay, so the Horn Ring is losing the The life per second is being changed to 50 to 60% life per second. No longer has mana restoration, but has increased minion damage from 50 to 60, goes to 60 to 72. So we're getting the upper value as the previous upper value as the base value now, and goes up to 72% minion damage. And then you get 10%, 10 to 80% crit multi. I don't know if this is crit multi, crit damage, or crit rating, but this for sure is 220 to 140 crit rating, and then 120% crit damage for 6 seconds. But you're getting more of damage taken. Now this on Iris, as you may already know, is very it's very taboo, right? You already have damage taken in Windrunner, but let's say this will be good for the early part of the game, where you get all your crit multi from one of these rings. Try to get the minimum roll of 6% additional damage taken, and then you move away from it once you have your gear pieces together a little bit better. So yeah, that's all I wanted to discuss. What the build would look like probably early game. I think that the setup will be exactly the same, which will be leveling. I like to use stuff like this. I like to use add the green phantoms for a little bit of extra damage, then do Fire Magus. Fire Magus is quite strong during the leveling process. You use swiftness, charge flames, some curses, and then you blink around for speed. Green Phantom applies grudge for the once you have a curse for the paralyze, and then for the talent tree during leveling, this is missing one. Yeah, you will go orders and mighty guard. The second tree, again, this is probably going to, I don't know about this one, right? Because we'll probably have to choose between Source and Battle Trumpet or Talons of the Abyss. So this will complicate things a little bit. But honestly, I think Source, if all of these are a single choice, like Talons, I think Panacea is remaining. I think Contingency is getting removed, and Power is getting buffed. But honestly, this losing one Spirit Magus when you can now have like 3 of them, it's kind of bad. And this is getting changed to 100% additional damage. I don't think that's competitive, so I think here it will be Source, while you get seal mana compensation elsewhere. And then you will switch to Battle Trumpet if you're playing Enhance, or Talons of the Abyss if you're playing Ultimate, which Ultimate ended up being better, I think, in all of the setups. And then in Warlock, again, Indifference, it's gone, so you will pick Dirty Tricks, and in the other tree you will pick Off the Beating, and that is interchangeable where they are. Off the Beating is very strong, and that's how you would level. Then if you want to be, I think for T7 Traveler, Thunder Spirit is gonna be much better. So you use a cane here with once you have a decent cane, or the unique cane is a very good item for the early game. So we go here to item collection, we go to where is it, weapons, legendary gear, weapons, cane. This one, Twisted Branch. So this has 500 physical DPS, which is pretty good for the early game. And you have +1 projectile skill level, which I don't think it affects the minions too much. They don't get bonus from the base gear attack speed, but they certainly get all of this base physical damage added to their own damage. And I think this bonus is doubled on your minions when you have when you have isomorphic arms. No, it will only, so it will be this physical plus this physical. There's quite a lot of damage early on. It's not better than a crafted triple elemental cane, but this is much cheaper to get right early on. So use that with isomorphic arms, Thunder Spirit, and that will be the early part of the game getting done with. And for the pedigree, we'll have to see what options we have. So usually we use ISO arms, and then we pick the other option here, which is orders, to get the +2 and the initial growth. I think that will remain the same, but now pedigrees are gonna get buffed because there is no longer a distinction between minor and major talent. So that means that any talent that exists in the tree, you can get 2 off on the pedigree. So that opens the possibility for a lot of extra combinations. Now the ones that I think are better for Iris 1 is a defensive talent. The one off the top of my head is on Steel Vanguard. You have the possibility of getting, I think this is the one, resistance. Yeah, resistance. So 15% resistance, avoid elemental elements. This allows you to drop some of to easily cut some of your resistances. Reflection will be very, very good for damage. This is actually getting buffed from 5 to 6%. I don't know if Curtain is gonna remain in the game. You have several options. Kinetic conversion is very good. Shrink back, I think it's here. Yeah, shrink back, barrier shield. Then there is another one in Alchemist. Is it? No. God of Machines has this one, which is less damage taken while moving. Additional. So this one could be good. You put the Green Phantoms, 5 Green Phantoms, 5%. I think this is getting changed to additional 6%. Let's look for United stand, last stand block ratio. So this is all the talents that are getting changed. I'm pretty sure that one is getting slightly buffed as well. Here's the change to indifference, orders, additional damage bonus, rally. Okay, yeah, this is the one. Oh, this is the aura one. Additional damage bonus. Okay, yeah. No, it doesn't seem like United Withstand is gonna be increased to their to be less damage, but it's still 5%. Is 25% additional damage taken, less additional damage taken. So yeah, there are plenty of options. Anyway, that's all I wanted to discuss in this video. Thank you very much for watching and have a great rest of your day. So here, this is a few hours after I recorded the initial video, and TLIDB information has been updated. So thanks for their team for doing that. But we have the minion information. So we already, well, the talent trees information. We already knew that these wasn't going to change. So we're still gonna take orders here, and then starting with Mighty Guard and moving to isomorphic arms. Now the tree is very much compressed. So we have minion damage, minion attack and cast speed, the sentry stuff on the bottom. We have some life energy shield, then minion damage. So we do have Spirit Magus ultimate damage, and we have ultimate cooldown recovery speed. So that is very good to know that that's still going to be available in the tree. Now, so this doesn't change too much compared to previous seasons. This is where the change will occur. So the second tree that we will pick is Alchemist, for sure. And if we take a look at this, we have minion damage. We have same thing, right? Minion damage. So Spirit Mega enhanced skill, Spirit Mega skill damage. This isn't changing too much. This is the first time I'm looking at this, by the way. We still have the passive skill level here. Damage transfer, minion. No, this is character life regeneration speed. Ultimate damage. Now cooldown recovery speed for ultimate here, it seems. Oh yeah, there you go. So you have 27% here and 4.59, 13.5% here. And the important thing here is that as I thought, we have to choose between Source, Battle Trumpet, and Talons of the Abyss. Source is gonna be our early game option. Talons of the Abyss is probably gonna be to a late game option once we have enough sources of seal mana compensation elsewhere to make up for the loss of this one. Or maybe early game we can pick this one, as we don't have many auras and supports that want to run with them. Now the other two I think will be between Lich and Lich Warlock, and the other option might be Steel Vanguard. So let's look at those. So Lich has Indifference. Again, I don't think this is going to be too good, but I might be wrong. But Off the Beating is here. This alleviates massively the need for seal mana compensation in gear. Let's look at what this talent has to offer. So we have the minion damage, we have life and energy shield, pretty good. We have some mana, attack and cast speed for minions as well. Affliction effect, minion crit rating, minion crit damage, very good. All stats, this is very good because most of Iris's minions scale with both with 2 attributes. So this is roughly 30, this is 60, this is 30% additional damage if you take this 3, and then this is 15% additional damage. Then we got Blur effect, seal mana compensation on this tree. So I think, yeah, I think Lich is going to be the pick for Iris, and we get cooldown recovery speed here. So this is what previously was in Warlock, and the +1 skill level. So yep, I think for the most part Lich is what most of Warlock used to be, alongside this Affliction effect, which I think used to be in like Shadow Master. And then let's take a look at what Warlock has to offer now. Another Affliction effect, life and energy shield instead of just energy shield. So it will be good for the early game to have another choice of defense. Then we have elemental ailment avoidance, the cursed paralysis and stuff is here, curse effect, more affliction effect, minion crit rating, and critical strike damage for minions, for enemies affected against elements. Element damage, minion damage, upon inflicting damage for every type of element they have. This also applies to minions now. And then critical mitigation against blind enemies. And the important bits here is that we have, so verbal abuse was moved here. So there are plenty of options here in Warlock. We have the option of getting an additional curse, which is roughly 30% additional damage. We have the option of doing dirty tricks for the minions. But you know, this requires you to have a way of applying that additional curse. And we have the blur thing. So these are the two options in the Warlock tree for us. Another thing that I wanted to take a look at is to see if we have the minion ailment chance thing. I didn't see it. It used to be here in Alchemist, but it seems we're losing that. So I don't know how we will handle that for dirty tricks. Yeah, it seems that the minion ailment chance is gone, and probably let's see if the minion base ailment is also gone from Machinist. There you go. So the base ailment still exists. I think maybe we can look at, I think if we look at the whole talent, let's look at talent and do ailments. Okay, there you go. In Warlock, we have chance for minions to inflict ailment, 12%. I missed it, right? So where is it? Oh, there you go. So it's very early. So we have 12, 24, 36 here, and 24, 48, 60, 62% plus 36. That is 90. 98% chance to inflict elements. So yeah, we can cap element chance pretty much here and get a slate with machinist with this node, legendary node, base element damage, and then we take dirty tricks in warlock and we get 30% additional damage for the minions, and then that opens the option of another support, which is element termination. So all in all, I think Iris didn't get too short-handed by these changes. Yeah, it kind of sucks to have to choose between Source and Talents of the Abyss, but it is what it is, right? Yeah, you know, this game is all about making choices, and we can get the seal mana compensation from the Lich tree. This is 4.5, and this is 9%, and this is 8%. So that alongside Off the Beaten should allow you to not wrong Source and then move into any of these other options which are more damage. But yeah, quite interesting. That's all. That's actually all for the video. Looking forward to starting this character. I think this is going to be my choice for the league start. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the comments and the likes on the videos, and I'll see you in the next one.